Coming up, Tzu Chi volunteers hold their rice distribution in San Juan City in Metro Manila of the Philippines. 18 Catholic sisters visit the Jingsa Hall in Malaysia in acknowledgement of Tzu Chi's efforts around the world. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. Tzu Chi volunteers continue to distribute rice to the needy in Haiti's Sun City. This time, they visited the Congregation of Sisters of St. Anne and the little schools of Father Bowen.
Are you ready?
A row of spirited Haitian volunteers get ready to start today's work alongside the Tzu Chi volunteers.
They go to make it the line and then to put it one by one. And then this is the way you find to make it much better. And the people don't look like tired. If they're happy, you see when they do that, they are laughing.
Tzu Chi volunteers gave 300 sacks of rice to a local school in Port-au-Prince's Sun City to help feed its students. As well, the 355 teachers of the school were given 2 sacks of rice each. Judging by their attire, it was hard to distinguish that they were actually the school's teachers.
The teachers wore old and tattered clothing. It doesn't seem like their living conditions are much better. It's really heartbreaking.
These teachers received a good education, so they have been giving back to their community, teaching in 2 areas.
He said he's happy. I'm happy because you come in to help Haiti. I like you to continue to do it until you raise by yourself. I say thank you very much for Taiwan.
Tzu Chi volunteers also visited the Congregation of the Sisters of St. Anne to give them 300 bags of rice.
This rice that we receive will be for the poor that came to us every day, especially those in our dispensaries, the clinical where we receive poor people. We will serve them the rice, the pregnant women.
Transporting Taiwan's love to Haiti was challenging, but when doing good deeds, no obstacles are ever too big. Rice from Taiwan also reached the Philippines as Tzu Chi volunteers organized a rice distribution for impoverished families in San Juan City on June 24th. Upon receiving the rice, many local residents decided to generously share a portion of their rice with family and friends.
Volunteers go through the details of each family meticulously to make sure they are eligible for Tzu Chi's aid. All the while, residents wait patiently in line. This is the 4th consecutive year that Tzu Chi is bringing rice from Taiwan to San Juan City in Metro Manila. 10 foreign volunteers came to the Philippines to join Tzu Chi in its relief efforts.
So I quit my job to come here for 1 year volunteering because I really wanted to do something more meaningful.
At the venue, volunteers also came across those in need of help. As Teresita suffers from polio, she is unable to walk like the average person. Arriving at her home, this cramped space is where she and her son, who is diagnosed with cerebral palsy, lives.
When my son was born, he was like a little lizard. He was tiny. Everyone told me he wouldn't live for long, but I never gave up. He is my strength and motivation to carry on living.
To support her family, Teresita sells groceries and takes on other odd jobs. Receiving the relief distribution stub means that Teresita will soon receive enough rice to feed her family for the next 2 months. After understanding the plight of residents, within a week, Tzu Chi carried out its rice distribution. This gymnasium is packed with local residents.
The volunteers are a great help to us. Each time there's a fire, they are always the ones to reach out to us.
Rolling up their sleeves to help the Tzu Chi volunteers, the sense of fulfillment felt by these foreign volunteers is more than words can express.
That this time is worth it, yeah. Seeing the smiles in people's faces has been very nice.
To give is better than to receive, hence residents seize the opportunity to pay their love forward. And there were those who shared their 20 kilograms of rice with others in need.
Isa naman puro 2 kilo.
I share 3 kilograms of rice with my son and 2 kilograms with my neighbor. I'm truly thankful to Tzu Ji.
Paying the love forward, local residents stand together as a community to support each other in this time of need.
As a nation, Taiwan consumes about 230 kilotons of soybeans per year, yet Taiwan's soybean production is less than 3 kilotons a year. This means the rest has to be imported. However, of the 2.2 to 2.4 megaton imported annually, only some 10 kilotons are food-grade soybeans. Where do the rest of the 217 kilotons come from? Let's find out in our report. How's the dry bean curd?
It's good.
You have been eating longer, you can tell.
I don't dare say it tastes bad. No matter what, you can't say food tastes bad.
Chen Yashun and her mom are among the some 2.5 million vegetarians in Taiwan who rely on soy products as their main source of protein. However, she had problems with soy products in the beginning.
It was only within this past few years when non-GM foods have become available that I began to notice that while some soy products make me feel bloated, others don't. So I began my research and realized there are genetically modified and non-genetically modified soybeans.
To avoid genetically modified food, Chen shops very carefully when she goes to the market.
Hi, do you have any soybeans?
Yes, right here.
How much is it a caddy?
30 NT dollars a caddy.
30 NT a caddy?
It's from Canada. It's non-genetically modified.
I see.
This is non-genetically modified.
Oh, it is?
Yes, non-genetically modified, no lime and no preservatives.
So this is also non-genetically modified? Oh, but then this isn't.
However, foods found at traditional markets typically lack tracking labels, so consumers can only rely on a vendor's honor. Consumer needs are also directly reflected here.
The non-genetically modified sells better. Consumers can accept about $1 per caddy.
Each year, Taiwanese consume about 230 kilotons of soybeans, but the nation's production can only meet less than 10% of that need, which means the rest has to be imported. The imported soybeans are divided into the food grade and non-food grade, which is typically used as animal feed and oil production. They come loosely packed in containers, but first undergo screening, where the better ones are picked and end up in the markets and eventually our stomachs.
Taiwan imports 2.2 to 2.4 megatons of soybean annually, among which only some 10 kilotons are non-genetically modified.
Feeding a non-food-grade screened beans to consumers. Such a practice is unheard of in any other country. It should be clearly forbidden.
So Ms. Chen would rather spend a bit more money and buy certified non-GM soy products.
When it is clearly labeled, at least you have something in writing, so if something does go wrong, you know who to call.
Most importantly, the government should help current suppliers upgrade their system.
Whether or not food suppliers are willing to dive into the non-GM food market depends on the consumers. A few of the nation's major food suppliers began investing in non-GM food over 20 years ago and have seen a steady growth of 6 to 7% per year in the past 5 years.
Right in our farms in Australia, the soybeans are packaged and sealed properly, which helps prevent contamination during shipping.
The non-GM soybeans are packaged right on site and only opened in Taiwan for inspection and testing to ensure quality.
Suppliers must clearly label their products and allow them to be traced via cloud applications. I believe this is the proper way to do this.
The government should help create a traceability platform to make information more transparent and readily available so as to safeguard the citizens' health.
In Malaysia, on June 5th, 18 sisters of the Congregation of the Holy Infant Jesus visited the Tzu Ji Malaysia chapter's Jingsi Hall and Dialysis Center. After their visit, the sisters were inspired by the way Tzu Ji volunteers spread their humanitarian spirit to all corners of the world, as well as their devotion and efforts during disaster relief.
18 Catholic sisters from 6 countries are visiting Tzu Chi Malaysia chapter's Jinsi Hall to experience firsthand Tzu Chi's humanitarian spirit and acknowledge the NGO's devotion.
So I really admire the organization and then the volunteers that you all have. I don't know how you all train it. Really admirable. So I hope that also we can learn from you all so that we can have more people can be helped and pass on the whatever good work, as I say, the charity heart that we can let people experience love, peace.
Among the visitors is Rosemary from Ireland, who was born and raised in a Christian family. Her mission in Myanmar had given her a chance to experience Buddhism in the first place, while this time in Malaysia, thanks to Tzu Chi, she has gained a better understanding of the Buddhist spirit and philosophy.
You are called and we are called to make a difference in the world in whatever little way we can make that difference. And this is what has impressed me hugely this morning.
At Tzu Chi's dialysis center, these sisters have seen how the dialysis patients have been properly cared for.
You challenged me today. To be honest, you challenged me to answer my call even greater, to go to the place that perhaps I'm afraid to go, and to touch life, not only to help the person, just giving out something, but to help the person to transform life. This is something I learned from you.
Regardless of national and religious barriers, the sisters and Tzu Chi volunteers encourage one another to keep up their efforts for all sentient beings around the world.
In Taiwan, Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital, much like other Tzu Chi hospitals, safeguard patients' health in and out of the hospital. Later, we joined traditional Chinese medicine doctor Zhou Jiayi on her visit to the Taidong Jinsi Hall, where she talked about aging and osteoporosis prevention. But first, we joined 45 of the hospital staff members on a free clinic in Yilan's Nanfang Ao fishing port. On this day, Tzu Chi volunteers are giving the venue, Yilan's Nanfang Ao Fishing Port, a good scrubbing ahead of their first ever free clinic to be attended by 45 medical staff from the Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital.
Dentistry, optometry, traditional Chinese medicine, give it all a try. It's important to take good care of your body for your line of work. I think your family back at home would rest more easily knowing you are in good health.
In total, this free clinic saw 111 foreign fishermen. Due to language differences, volunteer translators were also there to help with communication.
He says his stomach and his lower back here aches.
All services were provided free of charge, and this outpouring of care moved one recipient to express his gratitude.
We work hard all the time, and sometimes don't necessarily have the time to go see a doctor or take better care of our bodies. I'm very glad for your assistance today. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And volunteers, please take good care of your own health as well.
This event embodies the friendliness that Taiwan is known for. These foreign workers feel our care for them, and especially for those away from home. This gesture will surely touch their hearts.
Taiwan's most beautiful scenery is no doubt the compassion of the citizens of its land. And today, in this fishing harbor, these foreign workers will not easily forget the love and care they have received.
It will start to deteriorate and termites will start to eat away at the middle. This is actually very similar to what happens to our bones.
Using the structure of a house to talk about how bones deteriorate helps the audience understand bone density loss. In this aging society, learning the correct preventative measures against bone density loss is a must, which is why Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital's traditional Chinese medicine doctor Zhou Jiayi is here at the Taidong Jinsi Hall.
My in-laws suffer from bone density loss, and I'm also getting up there in age. where I should take better care of my body. So I came to see if what I read on the internet matches what the doctors say.
Dr. Zhou suggests everyone to avoid foods that are spicy or high in sodium, get an appropriate amount of sesame and nuts, and not to consume alcoholic beverages or smoke. Meanwhile, adding exercise and sun exposure into one's daily routine are all a part of taking care of one's bones.
要运动啊，卖食较盐嘛，较咸嘛。
The audience takes down notes not only for reference, but also to be able to share with others these tips, as putting the right information into practice can raise the quality of life in one's golden years. Moving to Penghu in Taiwan, as the 7th lunar month draws near, Tzu Chi volunteers organize a community blessing ceremony to not only promote the ideas of no killing and no burning of joss paper, but also to educate local residents on how to observe the upcoming event in the correct manner.
Penghu is an offshore territory of Taiwan where local residents still follow in the tradition of burning joss paper during religious ceremonies. With Tzu Chi volunteers' encouragement, temple goers decided to join Tzu Chi's blessing ceremony and learn new concepts. According to statistics, New Taipei City's annual consumption of joss paper for the 7th lunar month alone is equivalent to 40,000 trees, which is worth $13.5 million. However, Master Zheng Yan teaches us to create blessings by ourselves instead of asking for it.
When I was young, I used to burn lots of joss paper. Now I realize we need to plant fields of blessings on our own instead of garnishing blessings through burning joss paper. This event is very meaningful to us.
从今年开始有所改变，
会。
怎么改变？
会比较减量，然后再来就没有了，
就不要烧了，对不对？我们一切把烧纸钱的功德回向给人家，不是很好吗？
比较直接，比较受用。
Because of the location, it requires more time to change Penghu residents' mindset and behavior. But we are very confident that we can succeed as long as we keep our effort.
Showing their commitment to Mother Earth, these devoted volunteers will continue to do the right thing and motivate more people to follow suit.
In Taiwan's New Taipei City, Tzu Chi's parent and child class in Xindian District recently held a celebration to mark the end of the school year. But first, we joined a similar celebration in Xizhi District, where a coming-of-age ceremony was held for students.
At the Tzu Chi parent-child class in Xizhi District, Tzu Chi volunteers are hosting a coming-of-age ceremony for kindergarten graduates and those that are entering junior high school.
棒棒哦，1年级不是幼稚园了，对不对？对不对？棒棒哦。
During the ceremony, children respectfully kneel in front of their parents to express their gratitude and love. Many parents seize the chance to praise their children for their thoughtfulness and encourage them to continue to change for the better.
Last year, we let you choose what to do with your red pocket money. You decided to purchase suitable and warm clothes for Grandpa. I am very fortunate to have a filial daughter that has a compassionate heart.
Many children also express their gratitude to parents.
We need to fulfill our filial duties and listen to our mothers and fathers. We also need to be good kids and cherish everything we have.
Meanwhile, at Xindian District's Tzu Chi parent-child class, parents share with other participants the changes they have seen in their children over the past years.
My children have learned to be more thoughtful. When my son comes back from school, he will tell me that he wants to cook for me.
Thanks to the parent-child class, Mrs. Ding has learned to communicate with her daughter through letters, which has strengthened their mother-daughter bond.
每天都抱抱妈妈，那妈妈也会抱抱我、亲亲我。现在跟妈妈说声妈妈好乖。
In 2008, Tzu Chi initiated a poverty alleviation project in Indonesia, and in the span of 3 years, the Buddhist NGO has constructed 256 homes for impoverished families. The first phase of the program this year has been completed, and on June 15th, volunteers held a handover ceremony to welcome residents into their new homes.
Performing a sign language song to celebrate the successful execution of the first phase of Tsuji's poverty alleviation project, today volunteers are handing over 19 houses to their new owners. As volunteers hand over the keys to proud new homeowners and guide them into their homes, this also marks the beginning of a new chapter for these residents.
My home was on the verge of collapse. Even walking around inside was difficult. Sometimes we had to crawl, and when it rained, it always flooded.
Shree's family sits on the floor of their new home, shocked and surprised, as they still cannot believe their nightmares are now behind them.
We are so thankful to the Tsuji Foundation for giving us a new home. We couldn't live in our old house anymore. We don't have to worry that our home will be flooded anymore. Thank you so much.
Pokoknya saya banyak terima kasih sama Yayasan Buddha Suci.
Those who had the means responded to Tsuji's One Good Deed a Day campaign by donating some of their own savings.
They are very spontaneous. They are willing to help each other with these bamboo coin banks. They will often come by the Jakarta Jinsi Hall to attend various events, and they are always ready to join us in practicing good deeds.
Providing impoverished residents with a shelter that shields them from wind and rain, these residents are ready to reciprocate this gift from Tsuji with their love.
Turning our camera to South Africa, Tsuchings in Johannesburg recently organized an outing for the orphan children of Neleti's Children's Home to visit Benoni Bunny Park. The children's excitement and laughter were the Tsuchings' greatest reward. Walking hand in hand here at the Bunny Park in Benoni, Johannesburg, the sound of children's laughter fills the air. Just feeding carrots to the rabbits brings immense joy to the children, as very seldom do children of Neleti's Children's Home have the opportunity to enjoy the great outdoors. Hence, this outing was organized by the Tsuchings as a gift for these children.
Want to feed the cow? Yes. Wow.
When we play with them and see them laugh, we feel young at heart again. We feel like little kids again, just playing with them.
It was a simple idea of the Tsuchings. They thought, since the children of the home don't often have the opportunity to go to Bunny Park or to go out, they would organize this outing for them. Transport and food arrangements were taken care of by volunteers, while Tsuchings brought their enthusiasm to light up the day. These Tsuchings hope, with the companionship, these children will never have to feel alone. At the end of this show, we will leave you with these images. Thank you for watching DaAi Headlines. Goodbye.